So a general election is called. People go to the polls on the day and cast their votes between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m.
At 5 o'clock, the polls are closed. Anybody who is online at 5 is allowed to vote. If you are not online at 5, then you would have lost that opportunity. The top of the box is sealed and there's some paperwork that is done, after which the ballot box is opened in front of all persons who are allowed to be in the station, and they'll count the ballots in front of all the persons who are allowed to be inside the station, meaning the poll clerk. The presiding officer obviously is the person in charge, and if there are any observers, as well as the political representatives.
Included in this count are the ballots of military and police officers and election day workers that were cast 3 days before.
That tally is done, and that is what is going to form the preliminary count. That report is given to the returning officer, who uses that to issue the preliminary results. On the morning after, all the ballots are now counted by the returning officer, and his finding is considered the final result. It can change in terms of the numbers, because a ballot that the presiding officer may have rejected or accepted, the returning officer might see it differently. The preliminary result will be on the night itself, and the returning officer usually completes that final count within 3 to 4 days.
Celebrations would have already started from the preliminary results, and upon releasing of the final count, the winning party will bask in the victory of getting majority seats or votes. This result may change, however. There are instances when a seat is added or lost.
It's a candidate's right, if they so desire, to seek a magisterial recount. In this case, the resident magistrate counts the ballots, and his or her decision now becomes final. They have, I think, 4 days within which to apply for the magisterial recount. The magistrate counts as soon as possible after the application, and once that magistrate makes that ruling, that is usually the result at that point. And it usually is requested if it's fairly close and the candidate thinks that there's a chance that it could be overturned if some ballots that were accepted were rejected, or some that were rejected are accepted, that kind of thing.
At the end of the recount, the party with the most seats will take up leadership of the country. But not so fast. The leader of the winning party must first be sworn in as the new prime minister. So who's running the country in the meantime? Good question. The party that was in office prior to the general elections remains in command until the appointment of the elected prime minister by the governor general. After this is done, the prime minister will then name and assemble the cabinet, appointing ministers who will form the executive arm of the government.